Shalom, this is Gamali Allah out of Great Millstone, Atlanta. I want to give all praises to YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Shalom to all the Akim that are pushing out this truth and sincerity. Alright, now this is going to be a quick news update. This is going to be pertaining to the U.S. and the trade war that's going on and the U.S. economy. Okay, now, right now, if you've been keeping track, all right, there's been a trade war going on with China, all right, and the U.S. has been basically hiking up tariffs. Not even just China, Russia, I think, who else? India might be one of them. I mean, it's a bunch of countries that the U.S. basically put a bunch of tariffs on, all right, basically because they're America's enemies, and they are basically calling out America's bluff, and they're exposing America's bullshit. All right, so let's get into it. It says this is RT.com. Full-on trade war. Trump jacks up tariffs on 550 billion of Chinese goods. Blasts unfair response. Okay, it says U.S. President Donald Trump has announced yet another major hike of existing and future tariffs on some 550 billion in Chinese goods, criticizing Beijing's attempt to offset the losses as unfair and politically motivated. Duties on $250 million worth of Chinese goods already taxed at 25% will increase to 30% starting October 1st. The U.S. president tweeted on Friday, enraged that Beijing dared to respond to its previous tariff jab. In addition, he said 300 billion in imports set to be taxed at 10% starting at September 1st will be taxed at 15% instead. So this is basically just a trade war where you have basically just them going back and forth. Okay, you got China on one end. They just keep retaliating, and then, like I said, you got the U.S. All they doing is basically up in the percentage. Okay. This is Donald Trump's tweet. It says unfair trading relationship. China should not have put new tariffs on $75 billion of U.S. product. Starting October 1st, the $250 of goods, $250 billion of goods and products from China currently being taxed at 25 will be taxed at 30. All right. The latest salvio in the raging U.S.-China trade war ups the ante after Beijing applied duties of its own to 75 billion in American goods. So it's just a back and forth. Okay, you got China upping the percentage of goods, and vice versa with America. Okay, so as you see, I mean, when is this gonna stop? Because all it's gonna do is keep getting worse and worse and worse. Then next thing you know, it's already at 30%, which that's a high percentage. But just wait till it gets to 50%. Okay, it's gonna get to 50, and then it's gonna get to 80, and then America owes China, trillions of dollars. Okay, America owes China a heavy debt. Okay, so eventually China's gonna be like, well, you know what? Fuck you. All right. Oh, look at this. We gotta get this. China prepares its nuclear option and trade war. Guess what it is? Let's go here. Let's click on this. This is gonna be good. Lord willing. China prepares its nuclear war option. As the trade war continues to escalate, China is becoming increasingly active in Iran and is considering retaliating with what has long been described as the country's nuclear option. So here we go. We're gonna get into the scriptures now. All right. Because this goes into Revelation 18. All right, it says, all I'll start at 7. Revelation 18:7. How much she hath glorified herself and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her. For she saith in her heart, I sit a queen, and I am no widow, and she shall know sorrow. Yes, and shall see no sorrow. So America has been living deliciously, okay? You know, the wealthiest nation, okay? Everyone makes their money off of America, which this is going to go into anyway. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire. For strong is the Lord who judgeth her. Yeah, so ultimately this destruction, nuclear destruction, is going to come from the Heavenly Father, YAHAWASHI, YAHAWASHI. All right, because we just read it. China is strongly considering nuclear options. Okay, nuclear retaliation. All right. Let's keep reading. China, though, which at that time was engaged in just opening shots of trade war with U.S., was loath to completely disregard all sensibilities when it came to Iran, but equally saw itself as a long-standing partner of the Islamic Republic, not to mention always being cognizant of its need to ensure diversity to energy supply. At that point, China agreed a trade-off with U.S. that in exchange for it halting active development of SP-11, it would be allowed to continue its activities in North Azerbaijan, and would be able to go ahead with this development of YAHAWAH. Okay, let me see. Let me get to the point. Anyway, it says its ongoing activities in YAHAWAH could be justified by dint of the fact that the original contract had been signed in good faith in 2007, way before the U.S. withdrawal from the nuclear deal in May 2018, and thus, legally speaking, it had every right to go ahead. I think we pretty much pulled out the point, but the point being that China, Russia, all these other countries, North Korea, all right, they already know the fate of America. You know, everyone knows the fate. Everyone knows America's going to be destroyed by nuclear missiles, except for Americans. You know, all right. And, you know, America's basically trying to bully and keep everyone dealing with them, but they're turning everybody off. Okay, they're turning everybody away, and that's what's pissing everybody off. Okay, but it says, and the kings of the earth, verse 9, and the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her when they see the smoke of her burning. Yeah, so all these kings and all these kingdoms, these different nations, they're gonna, you know, be upset that America's gonna be destroyed because they make a lot of their merchandise off of America. Okay, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, alas, alas, the great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. Right, so this is proving that America's Babylon, because in today's time, what's the most powerful kingdom on the planet Earth? It's America. Okay, and who makes all their money? What country allows other countries to make their money? America. The dollar is the regional currency of the world. Okay, it's the reserve currency of the world. So basically, this proves that Babylon is America, because it says all the kings have committed fornication. Through what? Through the use of the dollar, through the use of, you know, dealing with America, that wine. Okay. All right. So let's get into the other article that I have. This is going into the U.S. economy, because the U.S. economy is being crippled, not only because of this China trade war, but also just because everything is being offshored. Okay, there's no jobs here. It says the main problem with the U.S. economy is that globalism has been deconstructing it. The offshoring of U.S. jobs has reduced U.S. manufacturing and industrial capability and associated innovation, research development, supply chains, consumer purchasing power, and tax base of state and local governments. Corporations have increased short-term profits at the expense of long-term costs. In effect, the U.S. economy is being moved out of the first world into the third world. Yeah, so America's economy is collapsing. Okay, it's slowly getting weaker. All right, and like I said, these countries are reluctant to use the dollar. Okay, and it says they created it. These companies they had a short-term win, which was cheap labor, different laws when it comes to taxes and everything as far as offshoring their business, right? But it's created a long-term effect because now they've affected the home base, so to speak. Okay, the its own economy. All these U.S. based companies, they're based in the U.S. and now the U.S.'s economy is hurting because everyone went offshore. Okay, everyone outsourced everything. Okay, the financial media is full of dire predictions of the consequences of a U.S.-China trade war. There is no trade war. A trade war is when countries try to protect their industries by placing tariff barriers on the import of cheaper products from foreign countries. But half or more imports from China are imports from U.S. companies. Trump's tariffs, or a large part of them, fall on U.S. corporations or U.S. consumers. And that's the irony, because a lot of these, America's basically shooting itself in the foot, because by Trump, putting taxes on tariffs on Chinese goods, he's really putting taxes on U.S. goods. So that's the irony of the situation. One has to wonder that there is not a single economist anywhere in the Trump administration, the Federal Reserve, or anywhere else in Washington capable of comprehending the situation and conveying an understanding to President Trump. So Trump doesn't even really know what's going on, according to them, which of course Trump knows what's going on. All right. One consequence of Washington's universal economic ignorance is that the financial media has concocted the story that Trump's tariffs are not only driving Americans into recession, but also the entire world. Somehow, tariffs on Apple computers and iPhones, Nike footwear, and Levi jeans are sending the world into recession or worse. This is an extraordinary economic conclusion, but the capacity for thought has pretty much disappeared in the United States. All right, let's get to the point. Offshore production started in earnest with the Soviet collapse as India and China opened their economies to the West. Globalism means that U.S. corporations can make more money by abandoning their American workforce. But what is true for the individual company is not true for the aggregate. Why? The answer is that when corporations move their production for U.S. markets offshore, Americans unemployed or employed and lower paying jobs lose the power to purchase the offshore goods. So it's all a chain effect. Okay, it's all a domino effect. All right, by increasing tariffs, by them offshoring jobs to other countries, first of all, it's affecting the U.S. companies, but not only that, it's affecting by eliminating jobs in America. Now, Americans don't have any money to buy any goods. Okay, so it's all a chain effect. All right, that's pretty much the point. You can probably just check out the rest of the article on Blacklisted News. All right. That's pretty much the point, and probably get a couple. I get a preset to close out on, Matthew 24. Matthew 24:6. And ye shall hear of wars, of rumors of wars. See that ye not be troubled. For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And that's the Lord stirring up these controversies within these different nations, okay? These trade wars, okay? The economy collapsing. Scriptures say the grinding shall cease. Okay, so the economy, the dollar is weakening at an all-time high. And we're seeing conflict like we've never seen before, okay? Between China, between all these other countries, all right? They're all fed up. All right, so with that, I'm going to give all praises. Matter of fact, let me finish up. There shall be famines, earthquakes, pestilences, and earthquakes in diverse places. All right. So with that,